Please welcome back Oliver Laxe. I neglected to mention in the introduction that the film won the top prize in the Critics Week section at Cannes this year, and it also has a US distributor, Grasshopper Film, which will be opening the film next year. I feel like I could ask you a lot of really big questions with a film like this, but we'll start with something very specific and excuse me? Is the mic not on? It's okay? Okay, seems to be okay. I'll start with something a little more specific and concrete. Could you tell us about the first images that we see in the film, which is, I believe, images of a mural?
The paintings?
Yeah.
Yeah, there are some paintings that are near my house, and they are just, I mean, the mayor of the city decide to make these paintings. Is their touristic paintings, no, just decoration, and I like them. I don't know. And this first part of the movie, I think they are just titles, but they resume on a way the film. There is a sound of the city that slowly goes into the wind, and you know, I mean, there is a kind of there is this mix in all the movie, you know, I think.
So you're, just to give people some background, you're Spanish, but you've spent many years in Morocco. And I'm just curious how this, I know this film was many years in the making. Can you tell us a little bit about how it took shape? And it clearly shows that you've been immersed in the culture, in the language, and in the landscape. And I'm just, you know, if you could maybe just give a little bit of background on how this came about.
Yeah, I mean, I'm living since 10 years ago in Morocco, and I feel a continuity with the values of my family. I'm a son of countryside people, and so the people from the rural are the same everywhere in the world, and with the same values. For me, Morocco was, of course, a geographical travel, but also a travel inside. And what my field of study, of research for that movie was Sufism, that the esoterical Islam, who allows me to travel to different countries, Mauritania, Senegal, Iran, Turkey, and so was a very big travel journey for me. This film. I think we make movies in order to be more sensitive and emancipated. More, no, that's the purpose of making movies, no, to be less idiots, no. And also, I wanted to know the south of Morocco. I really wanted to. I was living in Tangier for 5 years, and I wanted to have an excuse to climb the mountains of the south.
I just want to ask you a little bit about, because I think some people here may be familiar with the film that we showed in the festival last year by Ben Rivers, The Sky Trembles, the rest of the title escapes me now. But the film, the Ben Rivers film is in some ways like a making of your film. And I'm just curious about how you see that project in relation to Mimosas. It seems like a really a very generous gesture on your part to allow another filmmaker onto your set and to create something entirely his own.
Yeah, I really liked the portrait he made about me or about the filmmaker. He was, like you say, very generous. And I think both films dialogues on a very interesting way. No, they are very different. I don't know what you think. You know? They are very different, and I think it can be a good idea to screen them together. And again, the important is not the films. Is more, if you ask me, my opinion was more working with Ben walking with Ben and yeah, and him.
I wanted to. This is kind of a really big, big topic, but I wanted to ask you about just this question of faith, which is very central to the film, and just this challenge, I guess, of dealing with a subject that is intangible, ineffable, and how do to address a subject like that through cinematographic terms, like.
Yeah, this is the question that some filmmakers.
It's a long tradition of filmmakers.
We made more conscient or inconscient how to capture, to traduce the ineffable in images, and I think that more in this film there are like several layers. No, you can work in the narrative level, but if you want to make a spiritual movie or a movie with soul or vibration, it's more on the level of the images, more on the epidermic level. Some Orientals, master says that the soul of the human being is on the skin. So the work is more with the spiritual geometry of the images, no? Is about cinema, no? So for me it was important to make a balance between the exotericism, that is the literary, the narration, and the esotericism, that is the mystery, the shadow, the lack of meaning, or other level of meaning, other level of perception. I think that is important, this balance. No, I think that cinema or art without shadows is no art, no.
The film has been described, I don't know if you've used this description, but it's been compared to a Western. Some people have called it like a metaphysical Western, or a spiritual Western, or an Eastern Western.
It's an Eastern.
And I'm wondering whether you thought about the film in relation to genre at all as you were writing, shooting. Like, was genre something that you were keeping in mind when you were defining the film?
Yeah. I wanted to make a movie, a genre movie. I remember the movies I watched when I was a child. There is a long time that I don't have television, so I only have my relation with popular movies are from a long time ago, and some of these adventure films keep with me, no, and I like the counts too. I like the counts. I like the myths. I like the myths. I think that we are in a moment where we have a lot of cold because we don't have more meat. So I wanted to make a count, and of course, at the same time, because I was, You All Are Captains was very had a good life in festival, in critic, but not too many people watch it, and that was frustrating for me. Of course, we don't have to fall on the favor of box office because films will be seen on time, with the time, you know. But I don't know, the idea of serving the community was important too. So that's why I wanted also to play with the genre. You know, sometimes you make a step back in order to make two in the front. I don't know if that's clear, but so if you want to work with responsibility with the audience, you have to be clear. But more, you have to be, can I say unclear? Unclear, because I mean we are talking about cinema. I mean the best way to communicate something to a spectator is with I insist, no, with the shadow. That makes sense, yeah.
Yeah. Can you talk a bit about your actors? Shakib is somebody who we've seen your other work in You're All Captains. But these, are they actors? Are they non-actors? And can you talk about working with them?
Yeah, they are my friends, most of them, and I like actors, but if you have beautiful friends, why to work with actors? No, it's logic, and so you ask yourself why it is where you are attached by this person, no, and you try to understand why and to traduce that on cinema. And for example, Shakib, I know him since 10 years ago. I can say I learned to directing him. And what I'm attached of, what I like of him is his innocence. It's an innocence that you don't find today easily. And in Ahmed, there is a silence that I like, and Saïd, there is a gesture, an ethic. There are values and ethics in him, on the real Saïd, that shows with the position of his body, gestures. I think when he say to the camera, to the wife of the sheikh, when he say her, "Don't be preoccupied, we're gonna carry the body until Jizil Masa," you really trust him. You know, there is an energy of through energy. You was asking me about faith before. Shakib with his how can I say that? His role of wise idiot legitimize me to. I use him to talk about faith. If I was doing that with other character of the movie, more serious, can I say? I'm afraid people won't accept. Maybe here in the United States, yes, because you are not so skeptic than in Europe, you know. But I was afraid to. It's not easy. It's not an easy subject to make a religious or spiritual movie today. So Shakib allows me to be serious in his lack of seriousness.
Yeah. Okay, let's take some questions from the audience, if there are any. Yes.
I don't know if I understood you, but it's true, and this is something that we notice doing the edit, that always when Shakib talks about faith and say, keep your faith in God, someone is killed just after. That's what he say. But everything is well done, no? This is faith, no? War is perfect. Even in obstacles and in the injustice is just, no, or injustice, justice. What the faith is on the music of the pasos, les pas, the steps. They accept what the path gives to them. They have to carry his body. Okay, let's do that. They don't have a romantic or secular approach to that. They are not Ahmed, yes, because he's a modern character. Without that, we don't have a movie, you know, because we're in 2016. But most of these characters, they abandon themselves to the path. They know that the path, it's the right, how can I say that? Give them what it have to give them, you know, even if it's difficult, the challenge. No? So I think there is a kind of faith. I mean, for you, maybe, I never talk about faith when I talk about the movie. I mean, I didn't. For me, what is important for me is that Shakib, Saïd, Ahmed, they are full of love, you know. And they are a representation of that this life is beautiful, and that's it. I don't know. I mean, I like them, and I wanted to show them, and I have faith on them. Yes. And I have faith on cinema. I really trust on cinema and on spectators too. I mean that's why where I put more energy was on trying to censor myself. You know, filmmakers, we try all the time to put sense everywhere to protect us. You know, in order to do not fail. You know, so the idea was to let the film be in itself. The cinema begins where filmmaker ends, on a way. Sorry, yes? For me. Sorry? I didn't hear very well because it's hard without micros, but I'm sure it's right what you say. I mean, yeah, and I mean, posternation arrives on a moment, on a kind of climatic moment. No, there is a parallelism with Greek dramaturgy. No, in a way, with the three parts of the Muslim prayer, and it's the moment when the character is naked, you know, fall and is surrender himself, you know. When a human being make a prosternation in the soul, in different spiritual paths, they made that. You don't have defense, you know. It's a moment of abandon, and at the same time, I needed some ellipses, so these three titles helped me to give a rhythm to the narration. And in a way, I relate art and sacred. So for me, a piece of art is a kind of invocation or prayer. So that's also why I like these cards. We were thinking to put at the beginning a kind of explanation of that, but we felt that it was again make a movie just for one audience, you know, and we accept that this film comes from other cosmology or cosmovision, no? It's very high, very, very aggressive.
Yes.
The journey on a moment, I mean, there is an epic tale, but there's also an interior tale, no? Initiatic tale. So you are interpreting that on a good way, because there is a geographical path, the epic tale, but it's also, like I say, inside the characters. So if you interpret the journey, the interior journey, this journey has all the parts. You know, Ahmed is a kind of a skeptic, and we know, like as spectators, very subtly that skeptic people are people who has a big heart, but his heart was touch, was how can I say? Closed. Thank you very much, madam. Was closed for an event or disillusion, no? And in this path, the mirrors of Shakib, Saïd, and Ikram, that for me is a very powerful character, the deaf girl, opens this heart. That was my intention. I don't know if it's on the movie. I'm talking here about my intentions after. So on a way, he with this, at the beginning he doesn't know the way. He's just lying. He wants this job. He wants his money, but step by step he begins to trust on that he knows the path. No, he doesn't know, but he knows it. You know what? That was for me the main idea of the film at the beginning, before shooting. Someone who gives himself to his intuition. No. That is on a way what happens also for a filmmaker. No? You don't know where you're going. You say to your crew, yeah, you know, I don't know where I'm going, but I know. Secretly, you know. Nothing unexpected that you not expected secretly. Of course, yeah. Yeah, it was very hard. It was very hard. I was very, very lost, very lost. That makes the film different, not better or worse, but different. And I think for a young filmmaker, it's important to make different movies. I repeat, we think too much our movies. No, because it's very difficult today to make a second one if it doesn't work one. I mean, it's growing harder for these kind of fragile movies. And so I was looking for problems with this movie. You know, we knew that was a kind of suicide, but I repeat, we wanted that the film makes itself. We are talking about ineffable, and I think that point cinema is important because it can capture something that is across you, you know. And it's impossible to traduce what you want to do. It's never you're gonna make the film you want to do. And this is frustrating, but this is the good thing of cinema, I think.
You had a question, Matt? I did, like a spectator, sometimes I watch movies and I critique watching the movies, and I can say I don't like this movie, but afterwards, after I'm at home, maybe 5 months later, and there is some image that appears from this film. That happens to you too, I think. And so it's when you think, okay, so my mind tells me something, but my skin tells me, my soul tells me other. So that's when, like a filmmaker, I understood that I didn't have to make films for instant not consumption, emotion, but that the purpose of cinema was more to make images that can go with the spectator after. So I like to say that just 5 minutes after the movie, you know? But I mean, it's like when we go to nature, when we see a landscape, or we don't think on the landscape. We are there, we think more on absurd things. Sometimes we have stupid conversations with someone, but
after when they remember you, do you remember when we went, you know, the image is all over your body, you know, it's of this place, you know.
Time for a final question, so sir, yes.
Extremely cool. We work a lot on a C series, B series. We were working, you know, with some experts who works on some TV series in Warzazat, and it's the place where they shoot Gladiator and other movies. And I mean, we. No, it just didn't work. Most of the scenes where we spend more money, they are not on the movie. It's very difficult to make a genre movie, you know, with battles, and you really have to know to do that, you know. At the same time, we were working before with a John Ford movie called Lost Patrol. Lost Patrol that I advise you to see, that you don't see. I mean, it's a kind of British patrol in the desert, and they're attacked. You never see the bad guys. I like that. It was a reference, so we wanted to build a kind of energy, not personalize the evil or the obstacles. No, there is a mysterious guy who arrives in the middle of the cliffs, the river, and he asks them, "Where are you going? You are not from here." And they say, "It's not of your business." Okay, it's not of my business. Okay, good travel. You feel something, no? A kind of strangeness, no? But a little bit just. No? It was a mistake to say that.
Maybe we could end by telling people about one of your next projects, which is also kind of a genre movie that you were just telling me about.
It's a psychedelic road movie. It's a journey from France with some punks, French techno punks, who have like big trucks, and they're looking for a party in Morocco, and they're gonna arrive to Mauritania. That is a country that I really like. So, like I was telling to Dennis, is a kind of Mad Max, but with soul. We hope.
Great, we can't wait. So thank you so much for this film, and thank you for coming.